According to mega pop star Beyonce Knowles Carter, who produced an amazing musical documentary with Disney in 2020 that was short of amazing. The imagery, the history, but especially the lyrics is why creatives love and idolize her genius. Disney could not allow HBO or any other major streaming platform to generate this controversial documentary of a successful Black woman singing her own praises, but most importantly, her culture's blessings. Making or earning 579 million, which is shy of a billion with a B, that's a B, y'all, on her most recent tour, it seems like Black really is king. As a professional woman, a professional Black woman that is, striving to be the best, she is definitely an inspiration and a motivation. Now, what I do know is that universal laws only work if you believe that they will work.
Mm.
And what we wanted to do on this particular episode, because this is the Black is King episode, we wanted to kind of bring in Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power and kind of base our conversation around that for the Prosperity Playbook podcast, guys. We're talking all about financial literacy and just strategic ways we can advance our culture. Now, be royal in your own fashion. I chose this particular law, which is Law 34, for Dr. David Anderson because when I first talked to him, it was like, you don't know who I am? I'm like, okay,
Don't
let me
like
find
that.
out.
Stop.
Let me find out who you
Stop.
are. Who am I talking with?
Stop.
So listen, be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. That is the law that we will kind of start with today. And the law basically breaks down like this. The way you carry yourself will often determine how you are treated. In the long run, appearing vulgar or common will make people disrespect you. For a king respects himself and inspires the same sentiment in others. By acting regally and confident of your powers, you make yourself seem destined to wear a crown. Tell me how that relates to you and how you incorporate that into your everyday.
So that's a great question. So the earth has its own frequency or vibration. They have like white papers and different studies. Columbia University did a number of studies on the energy and vibration that the actual earth emits. Some people, when they're planting seeds in their garden, they put little copper wires into the ground to kind of ground out their plants to create like an electromagnetic field to keep bugs and stuff away. So people that understand that the earth is vibrating and they're clear on that, they kind of tap into that.
Okay.
And so what I'm getting at is if you're tapped into that, if you're grounded, right? If you're taking your shoes off and you cutting your own grass, you're in tune with that.
Yeah.
So there's been times when I've walked in the rooms and I don't have to say nothing. It's just like I'm vibing on that energy, and because I'm vibing off that energy, that energy protrudes through the room.
Mm-hmm.
So people who are clear of that, most leaders are clear on that premise. Most people that are trying to effect change, most thought leaders and social constructs, they have to be mindful of their vibration.
Absolutely.
And sound is the impetus of how our world was created.
Absolutely.
So you look in the Bible, Genesis 1 chapter 1, God spoke. In the Torah, the Jews say Yahweh spoke. In the Quran, Allah spoke. I mean, I could go on and on. The Sanskrit text, all of the first pieces of every biblical text talks about the Creator speaking.
Yeah.
So if God or the Creator can speak everything, this podcast, this microphone, everything we're talking about into existence, then we got to be clear on our word.
Yeah.
Which is a sound wave, which is vibration.
Right.
So people who understand that, who are trying to, or not trying to, who are creating change, they have to be clear on that. So
Absolutely.
it goes hand in hand. It's not, you're not trying to be a king. It's just
Who you are.
It's just the
It's
dial
an
on the
innate
radio.
thing. It's like an innate thing for you, right?
It's what it is. It's not I mean, it's just what it is. So having to manage that sometimes becomes a challenge.
Okay.
When
you say having to manage that, what do you mean it becomes a challenge? People take you because they think you're egotistical,
No,
or
it's not about ego. It's just about if someone is on a specific vibe. Like I'm real clear on what the deal is, right?
Right.
I'm so clear to the point where if I see someone not living up to their potential, I'll stop them on the side of the street and be like, I'll start yelling at them. You know what I mean? And my team is like, yo, you can't
I'm
do that.
sure.
No,
Yeah.
because listen, we're in trouble right now. You know what I'm saying? It ain't time for all of that. It ain't time for, oh, I'm sorry, I hurt your feelings. Like, we are in serious trouble. These people
Yeah.
have created a financial construct to ensure that we're relegated to the worst class citizen on the planet. You know, it's not even about black or white anymore. So if the black man does not believe that he is God and does not start acting like that, how can we lead our families? How can we ensure that our finances are in order? How can we take care of you?
Mm-hmm.
Sisters now are opting between going out on dates with white men. And I'm not knocking white people. Some of my best friends are white. But there's a real crowd of women online that are taking up these cats' offers outside of the community because brothers don't have their stuff together. And
Absolutely.
and so when
Absolutely.
we get into these conversations of having confidence,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's necessary. Like, how can I lead a company with $25 million worth of dirt in the ground
Mm-hmm.
and not understand that?
Right.
It don't make no sense. So I say all this to say, we as black men are in control of this. This is all our fault. If there's people running around who don't have what they need to survive, that's my fault,
Mm-hmm.
because that means I'm not training enough. I'm not getting in front. I'm not aggregating enough. I'm not doing what it is that I need to do to effect that kind of change. We built pyramids. I have 19 stamps I'm on my third passport.
Mm-hmm.
We've built pyramids in all over the planet, not
Yeah.
just in Egypt.
Not just in
There's
Egypt. They're in South America
269
and in
pyramids in
Mexico.
the Sudan, and I've
Yeah.
been to the South Sudan, Meroe and
Yeah.
Khartoum. I've been there.
Underground bunkers.
Come on, so like these
10,000 years ago, underground bunkers were created. And we're just now like, oh, celebrities, do they know something we don't know when it comes to the
there's a
whole
pyramid right now
situation?
in Antarctica. It was written about in Dr. Bird, Admiral T. Bird's book
Okay.
on the biggest armada that was ever um, initiated by the United States Navy. 7,000 naval ships
Mm-hmm.
went to go and map Antarctica.
Yeah.
And in his diary, where he was writing what he saw,
Mm-hmm.
Admiral T. Bird wrote about a pyramid that was 10 times the size of the one in Giza, in Cairo.
Wow.
And they went in the pyramid, and what they saw were black people on the walls.
So we're talking about spiritual things. Like, we're going down
This
this
is
whole
fact.
rabbit. I know it's fact,
It's not
but we're
fiction.
going down this rabbit hole of some people don't understand this type of lingo. They don't understand
They
this
gotta
type
read,
of
man. You read a
knowledge.
book, read a
You
book,
can't. So
read a
this
book.
whole okay. So we are under this whole limited belief system of religion and politics or whatever. So how do we get our mindsets free of the conditioning that has happened over the past 102
Colonialism is
years?
clear on their agenda. Okay, whether you're Christian or whatever you believe, colonialism is clear on mind control. That's what this
Yes,
thing is about. It's about the
absolutely.
control. It's not even about black or white anymore. It's about mind control. Okay, and so if we're of the notion that we are a lesser, when you go to Europe, the black people in Europe refer to themselves as subjects of the queen.
Mm,
When you talk to people in Jamaica and the Caribbean, the 33 CARICOM, our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean nations, the 33 CARICOM nations, they refer to themselves, those who are still party to the Queen's dollar, as subjects of the Queen. How much brainwashing has been done for someone else to use somebody else's money that don't look like them and then refer to themselves as subjects? Because we've been
yeah.
subjugated. And that's the subject.
And I heard the Moors, if you kind of do the research, the Moors were kind of like under this conditioning and taught the colonizers how to do everything that they're
It's a
doing.
fact, man. Moors have gone on record. Hannibal was a Moor.
Yeah,
Hannibal tamed the elephants, and they took over all kind of expeditions. Abu Bukhari II was a Moor. Abu Bukhari, if you don't know, we were taught when I was coming up. We were taught in 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, right? And these people thought the world was flat.
right.
Abu Bukhari II in 1311 had circumvented the world. I'm an avid boater. This dude circumvented the world 7 times, wrote about it in a book called The Adventures of Abu Bukhari II. We only get Mansa Musa, who is the richest black man to ever walk on the face of the planet.
Yep.
We only get Mansa Musa because Abu Bukhari II rejected his sovereignty. He rejected his throne. And
Hmm.
so his brother, little brother, Mansa Musa, came up and was like, yo, I'm going to hold this down for you. Go map the world.
Okay, that's what's up.
So there's if we don't get this information, and we get Christopher Columbus, who's a colonizer and came with death and plundering, and the Queen Isabella and Ferdinand funded those ships. That's how we got corporations. We got corporations because Queen Isabella and Queen Ferdinand funded the Nina Pinta and Santa Maria, which are in the outside of the country Haiti. It's been sunken. You can go there and look at it.
Yeah.
All right. So if people don't know this basic information, how do they know how to conduct themselves? How do they know how to, what a history of an LLC is? Everybody in Atlanta on the YouTube talking about, oh, you got to set up your LLC. Do you even know the history of what the LLC was for?
Right.
So we got to get back to who is Abu Bukhari II? What was driving him to circumvent this planet 7 times and map it? And why aren't we being taught about this in school?
Great question. So myths and misconceptions is what I want to kind of go into next. But
Mhm.
before I go, you're super, super smart. Do you have an honorable doctor degree or did you earn it? For real, for
No,
real.
my doctorate is, so I'm gonna be clear. So my father taught at Harvard,
Okay.
and so my pedigree. Let me back up. So my mom is one of the founders of a program called Upward Bound, Paula
Okay.
Anderson.
I know
All right,
Upward Bound.
so in the '80s, when Reaganomics came in, when I was coming up, Carter was coming out, Reaganomics was coming in. They cut this program. They gutted it out.
Hmm.
My mom took an unannounced meeting with Ronald Reagan. We got in the car and drove to 1600 Pennsylvania. Took an unannounced meeting with the president of the United States at the time. And she thugged him out. She was like, yo, you're going to refund this program. And if you don't, you're going to have a problem. We're going to be marching and all this other type of stuff. And out of
Right.
fear, they refunded the program. So
Okay.
that's my pedigree.
I
I
see.
come from a
I see.
household, my parents didn't have a whole lot of money, but they had a lot of knowledge.
And I know you wanted to go to Morehouse, but ended up
Not
going
that I
to
wanted to
Morris
go.
Brown.
I came here to go to Morehouse. I wasn't
Okay.
smart enough to get into the house, so I wound up at Morris Brown. I think they
Okay.
told us that at Morehouse the brothers there wrote with pens, and I think at Clark they wrote with pencils, but at Morris Brown some kind of way we write with crayons.
Okay.
But it's cool.
Okay.
Jamal Bryant said I signed a lot of checks with crayons, so I'm okay with that. I'm all right with
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. There's nothing wrong
I
with
say
that
all
at
that to
all.
say in the Anderson household, education, is at a high plateau. So with that being said, my doctorate is honorary from an institution in Miramar, Florida called Global Obadiah University and Seminary.
Okay.
And it was based off of my entrepreneurial history
Endeavors. Yeah.
for the past 15 years.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about your entrepreneurial endeavors. Now,
Mhm.
if we were to put a title next to Dr. David Anderson's name, what would you say that title is? And then we'll get into myths and
Just teacher,
misconceptions.
man. Nothing.
Teacher.
Yeah, accredited investor, SEC accredited investor, but teacher,
Yeah.
subject matter
Okay.
expert.
Subject matter expert
Definitely.
in all things what?
Real estate,
Real
business.
estate.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, land,
So,
land acquisitions, ownership.
one of your passions is financial progression in the Black community, and you really, really, really speak from the heart when it comes to real estate, precious metals, annuities,
Mhm.
equities. Let's talk a little bit about annuities. Can you give us a page out of your playbook when it comes to one of those top things that you feel passionate about as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur?
So, first we need to understand what wealth really is,
Okay.
right? So when we get into real wealth, not, you know, so-called wealth.
So-called wealth, what's the difference now? Explain that to me.
So
That's
right
that
now
fake stuff on Instagram?
we don't control the lights, we don't control the internet, we don't control the things that are necessary to get to the money. When you have an annuity, I'm an IRA professional in addition to being a real estate professional, but most annuities are like commodities, equities, all that stuff is considered annuities, mutual funds. It
It's an
goes into that.
insurance
Correct.
product as well.
Let's set the insurance aside because I believe insurance is a real wealth building product. I'm talking about equities, stocks, ETFs. I'm talking about, commodities.
Okay.
Those things require me to be able to send instructions through a telephony on the phone
Hmm.
or the internet
Yeah.
and communicate to my FA, my financial advisor, broker, whoever, broker dealer. Yo, it's before 4:30. I want you to sell whatever this is. Sell it now.
Hmm.
Right. And it requires electricity to do that.
Right.
Okay. The Obamas put this thing out called Leave the World Behind.
Yeah.
I have PTSD from watching it.
You do?
Man, it's crazy. It's nuts.
Yeah.
With that being said,
Any truth in
it's
that?
very much truth, which is what I'm getting to. If we can't control this electricity, we can't get on the market. We can't move our so-called wealth.
Yeah.
God was real clear when he gave us the land, told us to possess the land. And if he told the man, and not to subjugate the women, but he told the man to produce the land, to procure it, and then to further subdue it, possess it, and to further subdue it.
Mhm.
Those were instructions that he gave to a black man. That came directly from God.
Yeah.
So if brothers is walking around talking about, oh, I can't pay my child support, or my baby mama tripping, or I want to take this lady out, or this lady out, we shouldn't be thinking about none of that stuff, because the first thing that God told us to do is possess the land.
Yeah.
That's a mandate. It ain't something that I'm going back and forth with this dude on. So if God mandates that the black man should own land, why are we renting?
Okay, so
What's
let's
up with
talk
that?
about that. So as a black woman, so I'm gonna just talk a little bit about me, give a
Mm-hmm.
little, get some more, right?
I'm with you.
So my dad, I'm a part of Heirs Property. I have waterfront property in Charleston, South
Got you.
Carolina. I have about 7 or 8 acres. So for me, I'm not renting, I'm not buying a house in Atlanta,
Right.
because ultimately I definitely want to try to live abroad. That's my ultimate goal, right?
Okay.
For me as a single, I'm divorced. As a single black mom of 2 teenage sons,
Mm.
it's just easier for me to rent. If I got to pay more upfront, then I'm okay with that, because
So
let me
that's not an
finish.
indictment on you.
Let me finish. So my grass is cut. If
Mm-hmm.
anything happens with the HVAC, I don't have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Anything happens to the home, it's not my property.
Mm-hmm.
The landlord has to take care of it. So I don't mind paying upfront costs when it comes to renting, because it works for me and my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of and in America, you never really own your land, because if you don't pay the taxes on it, they can swipe it. Swiping, no swiping, but they can swipe it from right up under you. So, in the conversation of real estate and you saying, "Oh, you don't own your house," I don't get down with that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll
So
accept that.
tell so am I
So
wrong,
from
or
a man's perspective, right? And
yeah.
I'm not knocking your perspective. I actually understand your perspective.
Okay.
But from a man's perspective, right? If we were married, right, and something goes down in the house, right,
Right?
you coming to me about that. You're not
Absolutely.
gonna call Mr. Sparky, or I hope you would. I hope you bring it to me and be like, hey, this is not working properly.
Right.
I need you to handle that, right?
Yep.
So my vein, or my lens,
Mhm.
is coming from the aspect of how can I advantage the black man, so that the black man, if the black man is financially advantaged, and all men too, but the black man first,
Yeah.
okay? If I can assist with advantaging him, then
Mhm.
if you want to travel the world and you want to, do whatever, the kids are hopefully, either in school or getting ready to come out of school, you did
Right.
the marriage thing, and you want to go travel and see what, God has for you to offer, cool.
Right.
However,
Yeah.
your dad, you just said, left you some heir property, right?
Yeah.
And he's the man, right?
He is
And a good
definitely the
man does
man.
what? He leaves an inheritance
Legacy.
to his children's children. So
Absolutely.
whether you get down with that conversation or not, I hear you, but that's not what God told me to do. God was
Okay.
real clear and who he talked to about doing this job right here.
Okay.
We are in the position that we're in as men, as a community, because we don't own land. Listen to me. These people, we are 6 months away from having no food on the shelf. This is real talk right now. I ain't trying to sound the alarm or nothing like that. We are 6 months away from it. Why? Right now, the Jews saw that 6 miles away on the Gaza Strip was the biggest gas deposit in world history. And they
Mhm.
went in to go occupy it. We
Right.
know what's going on, right?
Mhm.
The transportation of the food goes through the Suez Canal.
Mhm.
So if you don't want to spend another 6 months going around Africa, it's not going to take 6 months. It takes like 28 days. But if you're going
Okay.
to spend another 2 months going around Africa to bring some food up to go through the meds, that affects the food supply. It affects
Yeah.
grain. It affects everything that's coming through there. That hasn't hit us yet.
Okay.
None of our food is produced here. We have farms, but we're not producing anything here.
Right.
So how are we going to get our food to shelf if everything that we're depending on is being imported in
Or
from Russia and
exported.
Ukraine?
Mhm.
That's a real
Absolutely.
conversation. I'm not having that conversation with you. I respect you. I love you. But
Yes.
I'm going to talk to my dudes that got heirloom seeds and not got 50 acres on these different farms. And I'm going to be like, yo, this is coming down the pipe. We need to plant such and such and such
Mhm.
so that we're prepared for our families. That's not conversations that we're going to have with, people outside of what it is that we're supposed to be doing. Because if we know we're supposed to own land, dudes that own land understand the assignment.
Right.
So this is all goes back to the vibration. I'm not out here talking about buying land so we can flip land and make some money. I was an accredited investor in 2006. That's almost 15 years ago. It's 2024. We got other problems now.
Yeah, we do.
So right now, this conversation, this message that I'm talking about is not to alienate how people feel about, oh, I'm ranting, blah, blah, blah. That's not what we're doing here.
That's not the conversation.
It's about making sure that you guys are straight. If we can't feed ourselves, listen, in Georgia, the water table is 52 feet down. That's the water table. In some areas, it's 400 feet. But for the most part, it's 52 feet down. How many brothers can we call right now on the phone that have enough land to drill wells?
Right.
How many people are in communication with Moses West in Austin, Texas, who has an atmospheric water generator? How many people do you know right now have atmospheric water generators in their house? What the hell is an atmospheric water generator?
I was just about to ask you,
It
what is
pulls
that?
the condensation, the moisture that's in the air right now that we're breathing. This machine invented by a black man pulls that out of the air and turns it into clean drinking water. Just like David Walker made this positivity alkaline water come at 9.5, this machine creates positivity water at 9.5. Every black man that owns land should have an atmospheric water generator on his lot.
Right.
That's the conversation. It's not about, yo, I got this, I got that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
It's twisted right now.
Yes.
So we have to, and we talked about this in the beginning, recalibrate the vibration.
Yes.
We have to get out of the consumerism, get out of the what I got and what I don't got. We passed that. This is Atlanta. This is like the real Wakanda. Like, I've traveled the world. I'm well versed. Don't nobody that's black live like this, man. Nobody that's black is living like this. It doesn't exist nowhere else. 30331, 30349 are the richest zip codes for black people per capita worldwide.
Right.
It's not happening like this nowhere else. So yes, there's this vein that they calling it scam Atlanta, scam TL right now. That's crazy. Real Atlanta that understands the assignment is standing up because this is our first time entering into what wealth really is, what it really is supposed to look like, what Dr. King was talking about, what Snick was trying to do, what Malcolm was trying to do. This is about real black economics. It's not about how people feel about what's going on. It's about taking care of our families. Dr. Elijah Muhammad, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, wrote a book about it.
Right.
How to eat to live.
Absolutely.
So if the black man is not moving like that, doesn't have to be a Muslim, but if he doesn't understand the assignment, why is he out here chasing money? What are we doing?
To buy 400 bottles that cost $20 in
That's a
in the store.
European capitalistic mentality.
It really is.
That's not what God told us to do.
So, what are some of the biggest myths and misconceptions people have about money and finances? Because I feel like we have to go back to the root of the problem in order for us to fix what's been going wrong for the past 100 years, ever since when segregation came in to play. That was like in the 60s, 70s.
Jim Crow actually
Jim
was
Crow. Okay, so that was about
before
what,
that.
50 years ago? Maybe, give or
Last 100
take.
years.
Last 100 years. All right. So based on us, I think segregation was the biggest failure or downfall of the black community. Absolutely, that's what I think. But tell me, what are some of the biggest myths and misconceptions people have about money and finance, and how can we debunk these myths and spread accurate information and get to the root of the problems that we have as a community?
So, like, America is the only place that I know that when you go to the bank, you ask for your deposit. So when I'm in other countries, like my son speaks like 3 different languages. He's in the graduate school at Harvard actually, and he works at the State Department. So he's moving around, internationally. And when we're in Japan, when he goes to the Charles Schwab in Japan, he's asking for his current account when he goes to the deposit. What is my current account? But when we're in the States, it's what is my deposit account? I say that to establish that language is critical. Every other place in the world, in the Orient, in Europe, in Africa, even in Africa, is what is the current account? Why is that? Because the dollar or dollars is currency. So that means it's supposed to be moving. It ain't supposed to be stagnant. Only in the US do we have the ideology that my bank deposit statement, it means it's sitting, it's stagnant.
That money is not sitting there.
It ain't moving around.
They moving that money through
They're moving it
insurance
around.
products,
They're
all
doing
kinds
their
of
thing.
things.
They stop you from trading after 4:30, and they go into overnight trading. All the whales moving at night. That's cool. I understand that. But the question is, how do we change our perspective as black people? What can we do to change how we vibrate, how we attract money? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of it if we're in a poverty mentality, if we're in this, oh, woe is me type thing, or I don't have money to do this, I don't have money to do this, to be quite honest with you, man, and I'm going to be 100, money is a joke. You don't need money to do anything. I've never used a mortgage, and I'm not trying to gloat. I ain't trying to run my resume on you, but I've never used a mortgage, man, to do anything that I'm doing right now. I've never used a mortgage.
What did you use? Other people's money?
Of course, but you don't have
How?
to use a mortgage to do it. You know, we're being told that machine is running, telling you to go to Wells Fargo, go to Bank of America, go to Chase and get a mortgage. The etymology in that word "mort" means death.
Yeah.
Second word is engagement. It's an engagement until death.
Mm-hmm.
There's other ways to acquire money. The CalPERS just put out a report talking about $400 trillion available in the retirement market, and only 4 to 5% of that is self-directed.
Right.
How many of us are going into that retirement space using the self-directed IRAs to extrapolate the funds we need to start our businesses
Yeah.
and invest in real estate? Because that's what the IRS says that we have to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So answer the question of what are some of the things that we need to debunk
I'm telling
and
you.
we need to.
I'm telling you right now,
So
this mortgage is a joke.
for some people, this is beginner for them. They're watching this and they're
We
like,
got to catch up.
this is high level talk. I don't know what he talking about. How could you break it down
So
to
hold
a
on.
fifth grader?
So
For them to understand where
I'm
we are and where we need to be.
I get it. So I'm high finance, right?
Yeah.
That's what I am. But I'm also from the Bronx, New York.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So normally people tune in because they don't want to hear a credit repair conversation, right? That's just not what I'm about.
Mm-hmm.
They're tuning in because they want to know, because I've been this is like almost 24 years for me, so I've had a lot of experiences. I have like a war chest full of experiences. And so my response is that at some point, when do we stretch our thoughts? When do we say, you know what? The credit conversation and the first time home buyer conversation and, start my LLC conversation. When are we going to start having conversations about self-direction? When are we going to start having conversations about being a accredited investor and why that's important?
Mm-hmm.
When are we going to start having conversations about maybe I should go to this space that David's talking about in this retirement space and roll funds over into my LLC? Maybe I should do that. Because if there's $400 trillion there and I can't get a loan through at the SBA finance, Navy Federal told y'all 48% of all loans that went through that was black that got denied. So why are we still going through the same motions? What's up with us?
Yeah.
That insanity is defined as doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
So I can't, it's nothing in my being that's going to say that that's okay.
Right.
I'm always going to be like shaking it up, giving you terminology that you might not be exposed to, because it's through exposure, it's through having these kinds of intimate contact that forces you to start saying, oh, maybe I do need to read this book, The Power of Zero by David McKnight.
Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits.
Because the root problem is mindset.
Well, it's not just mindset though.
Okay.
See, we're in this information age.
We are the age of Aquarius.
It's YouTube, it's Instagram, it's TikTok, it's social media.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of information available.
A lot of noise.
And so the way that we synthesize information in the office is to get to something called crystallized information.
Okay.
The only way you get to crystallized information is if you have subject matter experts, research, and synthesization to go through and sift through the noise.
Okay.
That's when we get to what's real.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking, but no one's crystallizing the information.
Simplifying it, right?
Simplifying it, but crystallizing it. When it's crystallized, that's when the military says, yo, bomb Saddam Hussein or whoever they're looking for, Muammar Gaddafi. Because it's crystallized information. They're not moving off of speculation. They're moving off of something that they already know is proven. And that's important for us as Black people in our investments. We're not moving like that. We go into open presentations talking about noni juice. We go into these multi-level marketing schemes.
Yes.
We're not dealing with crystallized information. So when we talk in high finance, it's necessary. because we've been talking a low level frequency conversation, and I'm just not about it.
We have to vibrate at a
I'm
higher
gonna
level.
force you to.
Absolutely.
It's
I
just what I'm
agree.
about. It's who I am.
Okay, so let's have some fun.
I'm with you.
Okay. Playbook strategies, 5 money habits every child should master. And give me that age range.
My kids have ESA accounts. What is an ESA account? It's an educational savings account. Um, it's free to open.
Hmm.
Um, you can we get benefits for contributing to it. So the tax credit, but I'm into tax credits. How can I get some tax credits? Lower my obligation for the end of the year.
Yeah.
So it's $2,000 per child.
Okay.
So if you got 3 kids, they under the age of 18, you open up an educational savings account
Hmm.
and you contribute this $2,000 to child A, B, and C.
Hmm.
Now you got $6,000.
Yeah.
You take that $6,000, it's in the self-directed IRA. You go to the tax sale, you buy a piece of property for $6,000,
Hmm.
and you turn around and you sell it to the county or you sell it to whomever
Hmm.
for $100,000.
Okay.
Now, and this is not something I'm speculating about. This is
This
something
is all factual.
This is
Case
something
studies.
happening right now.
Yeah.
That's when brother asked what's in the bag.
Hmm.
That deal is in the bag. Okay,
Right.
that 100,000 comes back to the ESA account or whatever LLC purchased it, and it's split up amongst them 3 kids.
Amazing.
So now each child has $35,000
Okay.
to pay for their education at Woodward Academy or Paideia, wherever they going,
Hmm.
and you're not having to be like, oh, I got to take out a loan to pay for higher education in elementary school.
I don't believe in higher education for elementary school, but that's another conversation for another day.
My parents, they did it to me. I
Yeah.
got it by default. Come on,
It's
but
all
I'm
good.
just saying, we talking strategies.
Yeah. So that's one.
That's an imperative. HSA account. Let's get to
Okay.
this. It's a lot of
Health savings account.
health savings account.
Okay.
Very imperative,
Okay.
especially for Negroes in Atlanta, because the health is your wealth,
Health is definitely your wealth.
and
We're learning that now
we
too.
paying way more
Hmm.
in premiums. Black people paying premiums are crazy. I gotta pay premiums for my mom,
Yeah.
and it's close to like it's crazy.
So the Affordable Health Care Act didn't help with that. The Obamacare isn't really
I don't
kind of
know about
helping.
that.
Yeah.
What I know about is the HSA account.
The
I
health
know
savings
about that
accounts. Okay.
because that as an entrepreneur, I can't participate in the marketplace.
Right.
I don't qualify for that.
Yeah.
Most entrepreneurs don't.
Depending on your tax amount and
Most
how much you make,
entrepreneurs in Atlanta
don't
don't
qualify
qualify.
for
If
that.
they do, it's because they fudging. But I say all this to say, instead of having to fudge, right, you can open up the HSA account. The HSA account, tax benefits, let's talk about that.
Hmm.
I can contribute as a family $8,300 per the Biden administration. I can contribute that. That
Right.
means that when I put that money into my HSA account, I get the $8,300 as a tax credit.
Okay.
So I can get that to the CPA. He can work his magic,
Right.
the AGI, blah, blah, blah. But let's talk about this $8,300 in the HSA account.
Right.
What are we gonna do? It's a strategy. That's what we're talking about. Well, what's the strategy? It's high finance. It's too much. I can't deal with it. My brain is exploding.
He says vibrate higher, y'all. Vibrate higher.
Not only that, go to the tax sale. Go buy a piece of property for $8,000. I mean, I'm all over the internet buying property for $1. Nobody in the office has a mortgage. I don't just talk like that. That's real.
You really about that life. That's what King.
Ask the broker. She
Yeah.
bought a house for $100. It's worth a $500,000.
Yeah.
Like that's real.
Yes, it's
Ross
happening.
Dixon.
Yes.
Ross Dixon bought a tax lien. He lived in it. Like this is real.
Absolutely.
So I say all this to say, when they sell the property, whatever they selling it at, that capital gain goes back into the HSA account, which by the way is in a tax-free environment.
Tax free. That's what I was gonna say because I love IULs.
IULs are dope.
They're pretty dope. I like
They're
them, and I
dope.
like Roth IRAs
Roth
because
IRAs are
they're
doper.
pretty dope. So those are my two like go tos as far as
So this HSA account
yeah.
works exactly like the Roth. There's no
Okay.
difference between the HSA in terms of
Except the amount you can save. What is $6,000 a year in a
the
Roth?
Roths are like
6, right?
7. I think there's
Yeah.
been some changes with the Biden administration. But what I'm
Okay.
saying is, you can put more money in the HSA currently right now,
Okay.
and you can use that money right now.
And it doesn't have to be towards health
It has to be
pertaining
towards
things.
health first.
Okay. That's my problem with 529s and
Well,
HSAs.
this is
Like
not a 529. The HSA allows you to use it right now.
okay.
When you turn 55, you could do whatever you want to do with it.
Okay, but you gotta wait until you're 55. I'm like 20 years from 55.
But you gotta
Really?
stack that. That's what I'm saying.
But that's what you're supposed to do
Stack
because
the
of
money.
compound interest, right?
We don't know what healthcare is going to be in 20 years.
That's true. Okay,
And
so
if you
we're
don't got
running
a
out of
half a million
time.
dollars laying around, you're going to be jacked up.
You're gonna be real jacked up really quickly.
For healthcare.
Finish this sentence. Make sure your circle includes people who will tell you
The truth.
okay.
and
The
not
truth.
lie to you.
And not lie to you. Not yes men.
They be like, oh, I don't want to get him mad. You know, this Negro crazy. You gonna tell him? I ain't gonna tell him.
They just let them keep being stupid, right?
No, just the circle, the inner circle has to tell you, even though they know you don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
They
I
gotta
like
tell
that.
you what it is.
Last fun fact: 300,000 in cash or 820 credit score. Why?
I've never used credit. I don't know nothing about that.
Okay, so answer
I
the
just give me
question.
the cash.
Cash. So you would
I'm
take the
good.
cash, the 300 in cash?
In my world, I have never used my credit to advantage the business or do a deal. I've been in the self-directed IRA space. I'm in the retirement space. I'm an IRA
So
professional.
you're into self-funding.
Isn't that what God told us to do? He didn't tell us to go to the white man and use our credit score.
Okay.
Who is that?
A lot of people.
No,
It's
that's
the
what I'm saying.
American dream.
Yo, man, we being
It's the American
bamboozled,
dream.
hoodwinked.
Okay, y'all, they wrapping us up. They done turned the lights off,
That's
on,
you know,
off,
I
on.
understand. It
Dr.
won't be the first
David
time.
Anderson, this has been a pleasure. You got to come
Appreciate you.
back
I'm here. Just
because
let me know.
we just scratched the surface. This wasn't even enough time for us to kind of dig deep and talk about some things.
Well, hopefully Negroes read and they follow up on the different directions that we were going in, only to come back to this one point that we have to vibrate higher.
Absolutely.
We got to get off of this
low vibrational
fixing first time home buyer train.
Yeah.
Come on, son.
Let's go.
It's go time.
Okay.
It's go time.
Sounds
Check us
great.
out on the YouTube.
Yeah, let us know where we can reach you, find you, and leave the audience with some advice that you feel like will be crucial to a turning point in their finances.
Yeah, so we're on the YouTube platform. Wealth Wednesdays is actually getting ready to come back online next week. But YouTube, Dr. David M. Anderson Sr. And just go there, subscribe, and you can get on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. It's like a whole 2-hour free, interactive call up, answer your questions type thing.
Yeah, love it.
So that's a service that we provide.
And it's a resource.
I mean, I'm on WAOK, in the morning, and I think we're gonna be Joyce Littell's talking about we're supposed to be doing something with Tigger.
Okay.
On Wednesdays as a Wealth Wednesdays vignette. I sit on the board at WCLK, so
okay.
I mean, the radio you'll hear a lot from us this year. I've just been kind of
You've been getting everything together.
Yeah,
kind of organizing and planning.
We just spent $1 million on the studio to build a podcast and all that stuff. So now we got all the cameras and everything. So it took us a minute to get it ready, but I didn't want to be in someone else's studio talking this crazy.
Yes.
I wanted to be in my own studio. I own that mic. Yo, I own that concrete right there.
Yeah.
The lights.
I love that.
And God told us to do that.
That's what's up.
So that's why I kind of waited to build my space the way I wanted to.
That's amazing. I'm so inspired by you. Thank you.
I'm inspired by you. You're awesome. You're amazing.
Thank you.
And to the producers, thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
They got real production in here. They like, yo,
it's like real.
Sit up straight.
Yes. Let's make sure that your back is arched. They was like, you looking kind of slumped over. I'm like, okay.
Come in the gym, man. Come on.
But like y'all do outstanding. I want you to look at this camera and close it out and then just pause. And you say, thank you for coming, so and so, and we'll be back next week. Or how you doing?
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. David Anderson, for all this wisdom and insight that you have bestowed upon us. I am so grateful that our paths intersected. So we'll see you guys next week for PPP. That's not the PPP loan, y'all. It's the Prosperity Playbook Podcast. Hey. Okay?